مساء الخير جميعا، أهلا وسهلا بكم في سلسلة محاضرات شركه ميسان جمعية مهندسين النفط العالمية. محاضرة اليوم بعنوان الاستحواذ اللغوي. المحاضرة راح تكون باللغة الإنجليزية تماما. اللي عنده استفسار أو سؤال يقدر يطرحه بالنهاية. أيضا اللي ما يفهم المحاضرة راح ننشر روابط قنوات يوتيوب وفيديوهات تكون مشروحة باللغة العربية، وأيضا الكتب والملفات المستخدمة إذا راح ننشرها بقناة تليجرام. أستاذ حسين، ميكروفونك تقدر تفتحه، و دانيال you can open your microphone. شكرا جميعا.
All right, good stuff, good stuff. Let me see, Daniel, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. How's it going?
All right, how's it going, bro? All right.
Doing well.
So what's going on, people? Thank you very much for having me here. Me and Daniel here. I just want to let you know that we were doing this presentation or this lecture just to explain the fact about languages and how we learn languages, all right, and the reality behind languages. And so I invited my friend Daniel here, and Daniel is one of the most phenomenal and knowledgeable people that I met on the internet, all right? He is a student in the Jury University. He's studying cultural communication and linguist. He speaks German and he's learning Arabic. And from my side, you already know me, so there is nothing to say more than you have read on the ad or commercial for this lecture. So we're gonna proceed with the lecture, and I'm gonna explain first. Let me just first the human communication. All right. Now, a brief introduction to the human communication. Human communication, in its simple definitions, all right, is a way of interchanging messages or information between two or more people with the main focus on the message. All right. With communication, we focus on the message that we want to deliver to other people. All right. Now, there are a lot of methods and a lot of things to do with communication, but I want to focus on the methods that would serve us and relate to languages, all right, which is verbal and nonverbal communication. When I say verbal, meaning using your vocal cord to create sounds and putting these sounds together to make words, and putting these words together in a system to make an understandable sense, all right? Nonverbal communication, meaning writing or physical gestures or your physical expressions. But my main focus here is the writing side of the nonverbal communication, because nonverbal communication goes beyond the writing, all right? Now, communication and languages. Now, the reason why I'm explaining and doing all of this about communication is just because the language is just a tool of communication. And that's what a lot of people don't really understand. They don't really understand that the main point of a language is just communication. All right. As long as you can communicate with other people using this language, that means you already speak the language, but still there are some flaws with the language that you can fix. All right. So we're going to explain more about languages in just a minute. Now, language definition. All right. Now, a lot of people misunderstand the definition of a language. All right. And Danny, I see a lot of people perceive or see the language as a mathematical function, which is really weird. Like they would say that a language or is just like it's just a mathematical function that has the rule or the grammar rule. It just acts like a mathematical function, and you have your variables and your numbers, which is word. Anything you can add into that mathematical function, you get something resolved, which is really weird and far away from the real definition of a language. All right. So the main definition or the simple definition of the language is just it's a systematic way of communicating. All right. Now I'm going to address and just support this idea by by the definition that was written by James Braddock. All right. And he said that a language is just a collection of verbal features that are often influenced or even determined by environmental, physical, or psychological variables that are not under the conscious control of speakers. All right. Now, putting this into English, Language is just a system of communication, all right, that relies on verbal and nonverbal communication, which I explained in the first slide. The main focus here is just to transfer information, and as I said, with a focus on the message. Now, and I want to bring your attention to to what James Braddock said in his book. He said that language changes dynamically as a new word can be added. All right, that means a language change over time with years. For example, like the Arabic that we speak right now is real different than the language that was spoken 100 years ago. All right, for me, I cannot read a book that's 100 years old. The language is real different. I cannot understand 100% of the words and the sentences and the grammar rule that was spoken at that time or used at that time. It's really dynamic and it's changeable. Hello?
Yeah,
Yeah.
If I may add in there,
yeah.
And this is not something that's exclusive to the Arabic language either. If you look at the history of the English language, just from a couple hundred years ago, now we haven't changed nearly as fast as Arabic, but just from a couple hundred years ago, from Shakespeare's time in the 1600s, we don't say, "Wherefore hast thou comest?" You know, it's "Where do you come from?" And like you were saying, language is more than just grammar and rules and this mathematical equation. You're right. And that's part of what fuels its change too, is this artistic expression of language, and all just for the means of communicating more effectively.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's absolutely right. I mean, it's, as I said, like it's dynamic and it can change over time. And that's what James Braddock said in his book. So what I need you to understand here is just that a language is just a system that can be changed over time. And we're going to explain why it's you don't really need to understand or to study that system. By studying, I mean studying the grammar and textbooks and stuff in just a minute. We're going to proceed to another slide, which is language formation. So how the language was formed and why it was formed, all right? Now, you have to understand there are specific needs for specific people. And the language was created specifically to fill specific needs for specific people in a specific area, all right? That means in a specific area, people went together and they want to communicate. When they want to communicate, they need a system of communication. So they created the system that fills their specific needs, all right? Now, there are a lot of theories about the origin of the language, all right? Most of them said that there was a pivotal change in the human brain that allowed us to just acquire and learn the language. But the most precise or the most simple definition here is just the language developed gradually as the human developed, all right? And that definition was believed by Philip Lieberman. So it's not our main topic here, but you have to understand that this system of the language is just created simply for specific people, all right? And now the Creole language. The Creole language is just like an example for the language formation. Like the Creole language or the newly born language is just a mixed language between two languages, all right? If two groups came together with different backgrounds and different cultures and different languages, they want to communicate between each other. If they came together in a specific area, they want to communicate. So they learn each other's languages. When they learn the other language, they will add from their native language. They will make mistakes, and the new language will be created from these errors, all right? Now, the most influencers in these two groups will make mistakes, and the people around them will take these mistakes and make it like slang or make it like something like what's going on right now here. Danny, I was talking to someone like it's all in the countryside, all right? It's not really a countryside, but it's more like a desert. So I was talking to him, and he said that, and his sentence was like, then I got the machete. Like he said, I got in Arabic, but he said the machete in English. I was like, man, I thought that dude was really speaks English. Then I realized that there was an American base in that area, and they somehow got the machete and they got that word. So you see that the Creole language is just like just interaction with two different groups. The Americans stayed in that area for like 50, 100 years. We would have got a new language that mixed between Arabic and English, which is going to be a really cool language to learn.
Right. That's one thing that is constantly happening is languages are always being influenced by other languages, by current events, by culture, and by everything that's going on around them.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So we're going to go to the, like we're heading to the beef now, language acquisition, all right? Now, this is our main topic here, the acquisition. How does it happen, all right? Now, you will see a lot of videos on YouTube. You will see a lot of articles, a lot of researchers saying that, like different things about the acquisition. But the most precise thing here, and they all agree on, is just age is a factor. But a lot of people don't really understand how is the age considered to be a factor, all right? And science explained this in a very precise way. And scientists said that children use the same part of their brain that they use for motor control to acquire the language, all right? Meanwhile, adults make use of the part of their brain in charge of higher cognitive functions, the part that develops later. Now, in a simple way, the older you get, the more efficient and the faster you will learn the language. And that breaks the myth of the older you get, the harder you will learn the language. All right. And like I heard this a lot. You are 22 years old and you can now learn the language, or it's really hard to get that level or the advanced level to speak the language like a native speaker or something. I'm not saying that I'm a native speaker of the language, but I can understand and speak effortlessly using this language. So that breaks every myth, all right, here with this definition or this this explanation from the scientist community. Now, when it comes to acquisition, all right, we have to divide two groups here, all right, kids and adults, because they acquire the language differently, all right? Now, when it comes to kids, now, there is no genetic code in which that the kid is born and he has the ability to learn or to acquire the language, all right? We are simply born with the ability to make 40 sounds, all right? We can put these sounds together into words and manipulate these words into sentences and give each and every individual word in that sense a meaning, a specific meaning that refers to something maybe, all right? But here's the thing, kids, when they acquire the language, they acquire it from their parents, all right? For example, if there is a kid in the room and I say that I'm going to hold that book, then I go there and hold that book, all right? Then I'm going to say, I'm going to open that book, all right? And I go there and open that book. With repeating this over and over, the kid will understand that this thing that I'm doing this action to is called the book. Now, when it comes to the different words or the part of the speech, it's really different, like, because nouns are really easy words to process for the kids because they can see the objects. But when it comes to adjectives or when it comes to the verbs, it's really hard to process in their brains, all right? So it's really not easy for a kid to learn the language, all right? And there is another thing that I've read an article that was written by the Linguistic Society in America, and they said that the kid processes the same word at least 3 months before saying it, all right? So there is a time period between actually processing the word than actually saying it. So now, in comparison to the adults, on the other hand, it's really different. The way they acquire the language is really, really different. Like adults can learn the language deliberately, all right? So how would they learn it deliberately? Just by analyzing, then understanding, then applying, then repeating, all right? When I say analyzing, I don't mean by any sense the grammar. I mean analyzing each and individual word in each sentence, all right? Because each word has its own meaning. And when you put it in a specific context, it's gonna have a different meaning. That's why you have to analyze. Then when you go deeper into the language, or you become advanced, this process is gonna be really fast. You can analyze the whole context, and you get the meaning of the or the message that the other person wants to deliver. Now, when it comes to understand, understand the language, and you apply the same rule that you analyzed when you first analyzed the individual words, and then you went to the whole sentence, and then you understood that the rule that specific sentence was written with. Then you apply the same rule with another context or another meaning. For example, like the present tense. All right, if you have a sentence in the present tense, you first analyze that sentence. All right, then you understand that this rule happens and this pattern happens over and over and over to express this thing in this specific time. You will understand this. Then you apply the same pattern, all right, for another action in that time period. All right. Now, adults are good at taking knowledge they already have. For example, like, I'm a fast reader when it comes to reading Arabic, right? When I learned the language, when I learned the English language, I started noticing that even though I don't really understand all of the vocabulary in the book, but I can read fast. And it's really cool to digest all of this information without even understanding like some words or all of the words in the book. Like, yeah, I can understand like 85% of the book when I started, but that percentage is with in comparison to the fast or the speed that I was reading with, it's really almost impossible to understand all of these things and digest all of these information. All right, so that's why adults learn so fast. All right. Now, reading complex thoughts and feelings. Now, adults can really read complex thoughts, all right, and they really understand the feelings of another. And if you talk to an adult person, it's really different than talking to a kid, all right? Like, it's obvious. You can understand when he is angry, and you can understand when he is like feeling sad or something. But with kids, it's really different. They can't really read these feelings and these thoughts. If you're angry, the kids will not understand that anger, all right, except if you shout or you do something dangerous to him, maybe not dangerous, but if you just hit him or something like that. So yeah, you get like adults learn faster than kids. So kids are not that strong when it comes to their brains and their built-in these memories and stuff. So Danny, do you have anything to add here on this?
Yeah. So one big difference also between the way children learn and the way adults learn is the attitude in which they go into it with. Kids learn languages because they have to. They're growing up and their parents are trying to communicate with them and they're expected to communicate back. And so they're not scared of making mistakes, of using grammar wrongly. They're not scared of any of that. They don't hesitate. Whereas when we are adults, since we know that there is grammar and that there are rules, we become anxious about breaking the rules and sounding like a fool and sounding like we don't know what we're talking about. It's important when you're acquiring a language that you understand that you have to approach it almost like a child, that you learn deliberately and you use your strengths, but you can't be too scared to make mistakes because that's part of the process. That's how kids learn, is that they make mistakes and they learn from them. It's an important part of acquisition.
Yeah, that's completely right. Yeah, when I started learning this language, I was really afraid to speak up. Like, I haven't spoken with anyone. Like, it was really. I'm a shy person. I really can't really speak up, even in Arabic. But when I learned this language and I learned about languages and communication and stuff, and I figured that it's really crucial, to just step up out of that fear circle and start speak up. All right, because if you have the fear, you will not have the ability to think. Like your brain will focus on the fear instead of focusing on what you will say or the message that you want to deliver. So fear is also a factor here. So yeah, that was a real good point, Danny. All right. So now, after explaining all of these things about languages and the language formation and the language definition and acquisition and this stuff, now I want you to understand there are some things that that are crucial for you to learn the language, and there are things that are really bad and that are going to hinder your progress in the language. And one of these things that I see a lot of people doing is grammar. All right, so I'm going to explain why you have to stay away of grammar. All right, now studying grammar is really, really boring. All right, I'm not saying that because I'm just a soft person and I want to enjoy everything and stuff. No, but grammar is boring. If you keep doing something boring over time, you eventually are going to quit it. All right, and languages is not that thing you will learn in just 1 month or 2 months. You will need a long time to acquire the language. So you have to really enjoy the process so you can keep up with it and not quit it, all right? And another thing is grammar rules are hard to remember, all right? It's really hard to remember a grammar rule when you speak, all right? But now when I speak fast, all right? I don't really think about the grammar rule. I don't really think about anything. If you ask me, is that tense, is it present tense or future or something, I don't really understand it. I just say it, all right? And the same thing with Arabic, all right? When you speak in Arabic, you don't really think about the grammar rule, all right? And grammar is really hard. I mean, to study, like we studied grammar, the Arabic grammar, and was the hardest class in my school years. Now, English grammar is not often relatable to the real world. All right, we don't really use the grammar in our daily lives. Right, even in Arabic, we do not speak that really correct grammar, and with all of these fancy things in Arabic. All right, we don't really use the Fusha in our daily life. We don't really use these mubtada wa khabar and stuff like that. We just use natural things. And as I said, the language is just a tool of communication. We just use the language to communicate. So as long as you have the message and you deliver that message, there is no need for the grammar, right? Now, studying grammar simply does not give your brain the chance to acquire the language, all right? Now, if you keep thinking about the grammar, all right, it's really hard for you to understand what the other person is saying, all right? It's really hard for you to think about anything else, all right? That's one factor. But the main factor is here, when you study the grammar itself, all right, when you decide to study the language, all right, you will be spending 80% of your time just studying the grammar rules, all right? Meanwhile, if you step up and you say that I need to listen to improve my listening, so you just spend 15% of your time just listening. Then you say that I need to practice because you heard that some teachers said that you need to practice in order to learn the language. So you spend 5% of your time just practicing. If you can notice that 8% of your time just studying, like you are wasting 80% of your time and getting benefits out of only 20% of your time, all right? So it's a really big chunk of your time to waste. I mean, you can just learn and enjoy and get more benefits, all right, without wasting your 80% of your time. So yeah, there you have it about the grammar. So stay away from grammar. But if you want to be a teacher, or you want to study the system, or you want to be a linguist, it's real crucial for you to study the language. And that's another major, all right? That means you are studying for college or something like that, all right? You are not studying the language for communication, all right? Your main point here is just communication, and you want to communicate with others using the language, and the grammar does not help you doing that, all right? So Daniel, do you have anything to add on this slide?
Yeah, I think it's important to note also that grammar is something that comes naturally after you spend time with it. This is why grammar doesn't work, is because it's supposed to come naturally. And it goes back to how children learn. They don't study grammar either. They learn it naturally. And so they use it naturally. Of course, if you study grammar, it's going to be boring. It's going to be disengaging. You're not going to want to do it. And language is something you have to want to do on some level to enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. That's completely right. Yeah. So we're going to be moving to another thing that I don't really want you to do, which is translating to Arabic. All right. A lot of you guys keep translating words to Arabic. If you have a word that you don't really know the meaning of it, do not translate that word to Arabic. All right. And I'm going to explain the method or the way to get the real meaning of that word. Because if you keep translating words to Arabic, you will have the habit of translating everything that you hear in English in your head and translate that thing to that English speech that you get to Arabic, all right? And the process will go like this. If you get the English speech, it's going to go there in your brain. You are going to be translating that speech to Arabic. Then you will make a response in Arabic. Then you translate that response from Arabic to English. Then you say the response in English. This is a really long process. It's really exhausting for your brain. And like I would really speak with you if you just spend like 5 minutes to get to answer me. It's going to be a really boring conversation. But if you just get the definition of that word and just acquire the meaning of that word and just get it as it is, the process is going to be just like this. It's going to be your English speech straightforward to your English response. You get the word and the speech in English, then you just respond in English, which is really cool. It's going to be fast, and that's the meaning of acquisition. All right, you are going to use the language as it is. Now, for me, there are a lot of words in the language that I don't really have a meaning, or I really can't translate them to Arabic because I don't really understand it in Arabic. All right, I only have the definition for that word in English. And I'm going to explain that in a minute, how to get the definition and how to really understand that word visually and by listening to the pronunciation and stuff. All right. Now, like looking up words, like the real method and the real thing here is just looking up words. If you ask, if I don't really if you really find it really hard for you, it's hard at the beginning. Yeah, right. I understand that. But with time, you will get used to it. The more vocabulary you will get, the easier it will be. All right. And I'm going to teach you how to make the word chain, which is a really good method to get vocabulary. All right. You don't really need to just memorize 10 words or 100 words every day. That sucks. All right. You need to make like you need to be specific with your things here, all right? And I'm giving you here like a psychologically proven method, all right? Now, if you have a word that you don't really understand, all right, let's say that you have the word horse, you just go to Google and type horse meaning, all right? The Google dictionary will pop up to you and give you the definition for that word, which is horse. All right. If you don't really understand this definition, you will get pictures. All right. Now, some of the words that don't really have pictures, if a word don't really have a picture, you can go to images, so you can get some illustrations and stuff like that, maybe videos. But some words don't really have that visual meaning. For example, verbs and stuff, or adjectives, or pronouns. It's really hard to get it visually, all right? And if you don't really have that word visually, then you have to read throughout the definition, all right? And now when you read the definition, you have to make word chain. It's going to help you very much. And I'm going to teach you how to make the word chain and how to take advantage of this method. Now, after you get the definition and you get the meaning of the word, you can just listen how the word is pronounced, all right? Then you go to an app that I personally use, and I recommend every and each one of you just use it, all right? It's a free, but it's really crucial to buy more words, all right? It's kind of like a marketing thing. They give you some words, then you have to buy more, all right? So you type then the word here, all right? And they give you the ability to listen to the correct pronunciation, all right? Then you can record yourself, as shown here, that I recorded myself saying horse, and you can see that where the word is compressed and where the word is stressed, right? Which is really important. And you can compare between the correct pronunciation and your pronunciation, so you can just correct yourself and see your mistakes and spot them so you can correct them, all right? It's a really good feedback. I really and highly recommend you just to use that app, all right? It's for iPhone and for Android, so just go there and use it. Now, when it comes to word chain, all right? For word chain, if you have a word that you don't understand the meaning of, all right? Let's say you don't really understand the meaning of city, all right? You look up city, you get the definition, all right? Now, if you are intermediate or beginner, there is highly, you are more likely to find words that you don't really understand inside that definition, all right? For example, you are reading throughout this definition, then you get this word, population, that you don't really understand. You will look up this word, all right? You will get it, and you will get another definition for this word, all right? You will read this definition for it. Throughout this definition, you will get another word that you don't understand, all right? Then you get the definition for this word, all right? So it's like a chain of words, all right? You will end up with 10, 15 words to get the meaning of one word, all right? Now, if you have noticed that country, population, city, they are all connected to each other, all right? You can write a paragraph using these words, and you can use them in your speech when you talk to someone, or just go there, brag around, show off, talk with kids in your home, talk with your parents, talk with your brothers, talk with your sister, just talk and use these words. And make a paragraph using these words and just talk about it, all right? They're all connected to each other. You can talk about one topic with all of these words, all right? And this method, when you use this method, it's really, really hard for you to just forget these words, because you already use them. You already have the main topic about them. What do they mean? Where to use them? So you have a feeling for these words, all right? So now, where to use this chain, or after writing the paragraph and preparing the topic and stuff, you need someone to talk to, all right? Now, it's not that important to have a native speaker to talk to, but it's like just find someone who can listen and maybe give you feedback. Maybe I don't know, just go there and. Hello, can you hear me, Daniel?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. The internet is unstable here. Yeah.
The language exchange is an important part of this. I think this is really this is what it all comes down to when you're trying to acquire a language, is getting in touch with other people who are native to the language and native to their own culture, and learning all the in and outs of a language. That's how you become proficient in it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And having a feedback or having someone who listens to you is real important, because it's going to give you that feeling that there is something real connected to these words. So you have that feeling for each word, all right, what this means, all right, and how to use it, all right, because each word has its own meaning, and it has its own weight when it comes to the meaning, all right. And now, how to find these people? You can find them with language exchange apps, all right, like Tandem, Low Talk, and there are several and a lot of apps on the internet that you can use, a lot of websites that you can use, all right. And that's how me and Danny met, and we've been talking like for 1 year now, maybe 1 year and a half, all right. Now, there are some things that you don't that you really need to understand. before you go there and talk to people, because if you don't really understand how to talk in this language, it's gonna be really hard to express your feelings or the message that you want to deliver in a really proper way. So there are things that you have to understand. All right, find people who are interested in learning Arabic. Like when you go there, search for people who just try to learn Arabic and help them. All right, tell them that I'm trying to help you, so they stick to you, and they come back to you and ask you about Arabic, and just provide you with feedbacks about your English and help you with your English. All right, and the second is make sure to find learners who are still beginners of the language, because let's face it, I'm not underestimating you here, but you guys are not like more have that much knowledge about languages and the methods to learn languages or something like that. When you go on these applications, you will find people who already speak like 10, 12, and some people speak even 16 languages. It's really amazing thing. All right, so when you speak to these people, if they are beginners, all right, they need to learn the fundamentals. All right, and they need to have like a foundation. All right, and you guys like don't really understand like how to teach. Like you need to really be it's not like a teacher, but you have to understand how to teach the more advanced things. So when it comes to beginners, you will teach them the fundamentals, just the sounds, maybe the specific things about the language. All right, you will not have that much of a hardship when it comes to teaching them the language. All right, and the next is offer them help first. All right, just go there and offer them the help first. All right, and tell them that I want to help you. All right, don't wait for them to help you with your English. Help them first, even though they don't really want to help you with your English. Help them. All right, and this and another important thing here: schedule your lessons and do it every day. All right, when you have a friend, schedule your lesson. All right, we have time differences, so schedule a lesson and with your with your daily routine, and do it every day. All right, and make sure these people who you are talking to are so serious with the language, so they can just come and talk to you every single day. Always have a topic to talk about, all right? And that brings us back to the where I said that you have to create a topic and you have to write a paragraph using the word chain and the word that you learn, all right? Now, use the word chain to create the topic and write the paragraph. Be prepared, all right? Write the paragraph and go there and talk to these people, all right? Accept cultural differences, all right? You will meet a lot of people on these applications. Accept cultural differences. Do not be that hypocrite. All right, just go there and accept anyone who would talk to you. All right, you will find people from various and different backgrounds and cultures and languages. All right, anything you will see, just move on. Do not go there and say like, why would you eat that? Why would you do that? Why would you say that? Move on and learn from their culture. All right. If they are different, accept it, because we learn more from our differences more than we have in common. All right, learn from different people.
And if I may, Hussein.
Yeah.
Culture is one of the most important parts of a language, because as we mentioned earlier, the language is influenced by everything happening around it, and the biggest influencer is culture. So you're not only learning a new language and a new way to say the same words that you know, but you're actually learning a whole new way to see the world through a language. And culture is one of the most important parts of that. For instance, when I started talking to Hussein, I really didn't know much about Iraq and life in Iraq, except for what I had seen on news and through the media and on social media. And so it's been very interesting to learn about Middle Eastern culture and about Arabic together through Hussein. And that's the biggest advantage of these language exchange calls, is you get both experience with the language and experience with the culture. It's an integral part. They affect one another, and they're deeply connected.
Yeah.
You have to
Yeah,
remember
that's right.
to accept
Yeah.
those cultural differences and learn from them, like Hussein said.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, completely agree with you, bro. Now we're gonna move on to something more, and maybe you have heard this a lot, like listening, and you have to listen more, and just keep listening, keep listening. Yeah, but I understand. But listening to what? All right, you have to understand there is a specific rules and specific methods that you have to follow in order to just progress. All right, well, and one of them is progressive overloading. Right, you have to progress, and you overload your content and the type of content that you listen to with time. As you get advanced, the more advanced content you have to listen to. All right. Now, what to listen to? There are a lot of things to listen to on the internet. There are podcasts, songs, news, sports, etc. All right. But you have to understand that these things should be interesting to you, and this is the real important. You have to be interested in these things to listen to it. All right. Start listening to slow, clear speakers. All right. Don't go there and listen to auctioneers or rappers or something like that, because you will not get any benefits out of them, all right, or out of the content that they provide, because they speak fast. You don't really understand the vocabulary, you don't really understand the message they want to deliver. Go there and search for clear speakers, all right, so you can understand. Like, if you understand like 60%, maybe 50% of the speech, this is a really good content to listen to. As you get advanced, you will keep overloading the content, all right. You will listen to more advanced things. Listen only to native speakers. Now, I don't want to segregate people here, but the likelihood of a native speaker making mistakes or errors with his language is really low in comparison to a non-native speaker. All right, there are a lot of people, a lot of non-native speakers who really are comfortable with the language, and they don't really have that much of mistakes. But you have to understand, like, listening to native speakers, you will get your the correct pronunciation and the correct maybe the correct grammar. Like, they are not perfect, but they still they know how to use that system to communicate. So you will get the system from them, from the original genuine people. All right, focus on one accent, and this is a real important thing. And a lot of people don't really understand, why do you need to focus on one accent? And people say that it's not real important to focus on one accent. But as I said, the language is created for specific people in a specific area. All right, when I say specific people, that means a specific culture, a specific background, specific roots. All right. And when you focus on one accent, you are focusing on that culture for these people in that region, all right? For example, like for me, I focused on the American accent, all right? And I got the culture, and I got almost everything about the Americans, all right? To learn the culture, and I understand how they use the system, and how they just generally communicate with them, between each other, I mean. Now, listen deeply and focus on the pronunciation. Now, when you listen, focus only on the pronunciation. Do not divert yourself and maybe search about the definition, or translate some words and stuff, or maybe focus on the message or something like that. Focus mainly on the pronunciation, all right? Analyze each individual word, all right? Focus on how they pronounce their these sounds, all right? Now, choose topics that you are already familiar with, all right? And that brings us back to the slide where I said that adults are really good at picking up skills they already know. All right. If you know something, it's really going to be easy for you to understand in another language. All right. For example, if you are if you are good with football, and you understand about football, and you already watched this game and how it was, how it went and stuff like that. Even though you don't really understand all of the speech that the maybe the player said and stuff like that. Maybe what the commentator said about the game. you will get a general idea about the game because you already watched it, all right? So pick up things that you are already familiar with. You don't need to look up words. If you have a word that you don't understand, if you listen and you get a word that you don't understand, do not look up that word. Do not translate that word. Just move on, all right? The idea of listening is just to enjoy and just focus on the pronunciation, all right? Now, with practicing, all right? Practicing and shadowing, all right? Shadowing is a real important thing here. Now, a lot of people will say that practicing means talking to people. No, it doesn't. Practicing is really something deeper than that. You cannot shadow someone who you talk to. For example, when I talk to Daniel, I don't really shadow him. It's gonna be a really weird conversation with him if I keep shadowing his speech, right? Yeah, when I talk, maybe he correct my maybe my pronunciation, maybe my grammar, the flaws that would happen in my speech, all right? But with shadowing, you are just mimicking people, all right? You are just repeating what they say. Now, when it comes to shadowing, there are specific rules. Maybe I've heard about the shadowing, but it's really on a different level, all right? So first, use series instead of movies. Why would you use a series? Why series extend on a long period of time, all right? The opposite of it is movies. Like movies, just 2 hours, you will get the characters and stuff for 2 hours. But series, some series go for almost a year. You will have 1 year to watch it, all right? You will get used to the characters that are in that show, all right? You will get used to their behavior, their way of speaking, their accent, their the things that they think, their thoughts, all right? Now, when you watch the series, all right, it's really crucial for you if you don't really understand all of the show, like, just download the subtitle, all right? Go to subsense.com and get the subtitle and apply it for this episode. And now there are a lot of methods about shadowing, but there are three methods that I recommend. And I'm going to explain the first one, which is the easiest one. And I'm going to explain the second one that I use, all right? Now, delay the subtitle, right? If you don't really have that advanced level, all right, in the language, just delay the subtitle 3 seconds so you can focus on the speech rather than the subtitle. Because when you, because here's the thing, reading is really easier for your brain than listening, all right, especially with languages. When you have the subtitle, your brain will be focusing on the subtitle itself, and you will not focus on the speech, all right. And that's why a lot of you guys there is no shadow of a doubt, like most of you guys watched all at least 100 movies and you still don't really speak the language because you're focused on the translation and the subtitle. And another method, which is take one rule into that series, all right? And this is something that I did. I took one rule into that series, into the shows that I watch, and be that character itself. And me and Danny talked about this subject yesterday, and it's really amazing how easy you can lose yourself into that character and become that specific character. It's more like being immersed into the environment, all right? So you will understand his behavior. If that person was evil, you will feel evil. If that person was good, you will feel good. All right, so you will take that rule, all right, and take his feelings. I would recommend you just to use the 3D audio set and use the VR. It's gonna be a really cool experience. Now use GeoM Player, and I'm gonna demonstrate for you just in a second how to use it. Click on the words and stuff, and as I said, focus here on the message, all right? You don't really need to focus on the pronunciation when you shadow, all right? Focus on the message. Yeah, you will get there are some flaws will be when you shadow when you don't really get the right pronunciation, but do not worry about the pronunciation here. Focus on the message, how to deliver the message, and how to use the system to communicate. All right. Pick a show with a clear and low-key language. Like what do I mean by that? You need, if you are a beginner or an intermediate or if you are starting with this method, pick a show who has a simple and clear language, all right? Do not go there and search for documentaries or that sophisticated shows or something like that. Go with simple things, all right? Only mimic native speakers. As I said, only listen and mimic native speakers. Then after a while, when you get advanced and you get boring with natives, just go there and venture out and search for different people. Do not translate to Arabic. And I explained why not translate to Arabic. And I'm going to demonstrate for you just an example in a minute. If Danny has something to say here, Daniel?
Yeah, I sure do. Really quickly, like you said before, I speak German, and I tried shadowing, and I practiced with this. And jetzt kann ich besser Deutsch sprechen. I can speak better German because of it. It's something that's important to do, and media and consuming television, movies, and by native speakers are a great way to not only get new vocabulary, but also work on pronunciation and learn about pop culture and the culture of your target language.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So I'm going to demonstrate an example really fast for you here. Let me see. So I've chosen I chose the Ozark show. By the way, Daniel is from the Ozark. He lives near the Ozark, so it's really cool to have him here. If you have your default player set to the Windows player, just go right click, and then you go to open with. After downloading the GOM player, you can find it on Earthlink here. Just make sure to get the +1. All right. If you want to apply this for all of the videos you have on your computer, just you can go to GOM player, then click on always, and it's going to be applied to all of your videos. Now I'm going to just make for this one. Go to GOM player. All right. I already applied the subtitle. You can just drag and drop it on the video. Then you can notice here it's scenic. You can go to settings or control panel. Then you go to subtitle. Then you can delay the subtitle 3 seconds. All right. Then if you can notice here, the character says the sentence, then the subtitle will appear for you. And if you can notice here, if you have the individual words here, you can select them and you can get a real definition for it, which is really cool. For example, if I click on make, it's going to give me the definition for this word, which is really cool. Sorry, but the internet is really slow here. All right. So anyway, you will get the definition like this. All right. This is Google Translator, but make sure to not translate to Arabic. Just go with the definition in English. All right. And another thing that I want to mention, you can just right click and translate the whole sentence. It's gonna take the whole sentence and translate for you. All right. There is something that I want to mention also. You can go to settings. You will not find it like this. You will have to go to quick settings. Then you go to advanced settings. Then you go to the, you will be here. So you can go to keyboards and then you click on add. Then you can click on this. You can add a hotkey. The hotkey will just make your life easier, all right? Because you will be watching a lot of series and every day. The hotkey will be useful for you, all right? If I click on a space, then I choose the action. You can go there and choose one of these actions, and you can click on OK, and it's gonna add. It's gonna be added on this application, all right? Now let's get back to the. All right. Now, after I explained all of the things about shadowing, I don't really think that I have something to add here. All right, so we're gonna move on to reading. All right, reading is the most important thing here. All right, like first of all, reading will make you smarter. All right, will make you smart. You will get knowledge. All right, you will be more educated. All right, even though that you don't really have that much of vocabulary maybe, or you don't really like the book, but as long as you have the discipline to get that book and open it and read for like 5 hours or 6, you will learn how to be disciplined, which is a key for anything. All right. Now, when it comes to readings, there is a graded books. There are specific books that was written specifically for non-native speakers. They were written in a way that would be simple and easy for you to understand. All right, they will have some specific words, specific set of words. All right, and they will keep repeating these words over and over and over again and again. All right, depending on the level that you will have that you will read in. All right. So how to use these graded books? But before I start explaining how to use them, all of these books are provided for free on my Telegram channel. All right. I have like almost 147 book, and I gave them all into the Telegram channel. So how to use these books? First, take the test. Each level have a test. All right. Take the test. Start from level 1, then move on. All right. Wherever you fail, that's your level. That's where you will be reading. All right. Now read first and listen. Whenever you finish a chapter, all right, you read the chapter, then you finish it, then you listen to the audio for that chapter. All right. It's really helpful for you because, as I said, the words and the patterns will repeat throughout the book. So it's really crucial for you to listen for each chapter. Do not translate to Arabic. And as I said, I keep repeating this over and over and over again. Do not translate to Arabic. Look up words and make the word chain. And I explained the word chain in the previous slide. All right. Write a paragraph, use the word chain. All right. When you write this paragraph from this book, make sure to write on the same subject here. All right. For example, this is a political book. All right. So when you write a paragraph, make sure to write about politics and politicians. All right. Be creative when you write. Make a topic and you use the word chain, and talk about when you use the language exchange apps. As I said, use these word chain and these paragraphs with your partner, right? When you talk. So it's really important to have the word chain and the paragraph. All right. So Daniel, do you have anything to add here for the people?
I saw a question in the chat that I was going to answer about, you keep saying translating Arabic. Do you mind if I address that?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Go on.
The way that I see this is that this non-translating, this not using a translator is for later learning. I believe everybody in this call has some experience in English, or else you'd be having a very difficult time understanding what's happening right now, or for the past hour or so. When you're starting off, you are going to need a translator just for things that are too basic to figure out when you're starting off. It's the early stages. But when you're in these later stages and you're able to consume TV and you're able to read books, it's important to try not to use that translator. Try to use the context, try to see where it's repeated and find that word. And again, just how children learn it. They don't often ask, what does this word mean? They figure it out over time through repeated exposure to the word. I think that's what we're trying to get at here.
But as I explained, when you get a definition or you look up words on Google, you will get visual explanation for these words. When I looked up if you look up the word horse, you will get pictures of the horse, and there is no possible way for any human to not know or not understand that word means horse because you saw the picture. So in that way, you will get a visual understanding of that word. But as I said, not all of the words were that way. All right, there are verbs and adjectives, and it's really hard to represent or illustrate that word visually. So it's really crucial to just learn how to make the chain words and how to get the definition. As Daniel said, sometimes if you are a beginner or like literally don't know anything about the language, you'll have to translate to Arabic, right? But you already studied the language for 12 years in school, and you have studied in college for like 4 years. If you are a graduate, it's going to be 16 years of studying the language. So it's like you are already familiar with the beginner things. So yeah, I would recommend just go there and try this method. It's hard at the beginning, but with time, it's going to be much easier for you to understand these words. And it's going to be easier for you to understand that definition. And this method will be easier, all right, because you will understand the words into that definition, and you don't really need to just go there and make the word chain, all right. Now this is like a prescription, all right, putting it all together, all right. I'm just giving you just a daily routine to do. Listen to English content, all right. When you listen to the English content, make sure it's going to be make sure it's all day long, all right, because it's going to be your interest. If you watch football, make sure you watch it in English, all right. If you watch movies, make sure these movies in English. If you do something, if you have your Facebook, Instagram, make sure to just change the content to English, all right. But I recommend just to go there and listen to the course that I provided on the Telegram channel, because this teacher, he's a native first, then he has a specific method, all right. He has the same method with the graded books. He has a specific set of words that he keep repeating with different patterns, with different rules of grammar, with different time and different tenses. It's going to be really cool, and it's going to be really beneficial for you to listen to these stories, all right. Now the second is work on your pronunciation, all right. I provide a course on the Telegram channel. It's all made by a native speaker, and go there and work on your pronunciation. It's really important to learn how to just pronounce things in English, because even though if you have the same sound and the same letter in Arabic, but the way that sound is really different. Use the shadow method. Use it every day. Read the graded books. Read them every day. Use the language exchange apps. All right. Do these things every single day, and with time, it's going to be you will see the improvement, and you will see how your language is developed, all right. But I'm not guaranteeing this, because if you don't really keep consistent with this, you will not see the results. If you just go there and do these things for a day or 2 days a week, it's not going to helpful, all right. At least do these things every day. So yeah, some of the tips that I want to mention here. When you do these methods, all right, make sure before you do them, warm up your muscles, all right. Your muscles, your jaw muscles and your articulation organs, they are used to the Arabic way of pronouncing things, all right. Make sure to release them with warm up, all right. Warm up. There are a lot of videos on YouTube that explains how to warm up your muscles, your jaw muscles and stuff. So go there and just watch videos that explain the warm up. All right. I recommend the Accent Way channel. It's a YouTube channel. It's a really cool channel. Go there and learn. So the second is, don't shadow people who curse too much. All right. Do not, like, cursing is bad, all right, but it's really cool to have something to say. I mean, it's something bad to say. You have to learn how to curse, all right. But each word has its meaning, and have like a bad word, and in general, like, bad words has levels, all right. So it has its own meaning, all right. So when you learn a word, a cursing word, like, even though you understand the meaning of that word, but you don't really understand how heavy it is, all right. So when you say it to someone, you'll get another reaction, right, that you did not really imagine. So don't really use cursing or curse too much, all right, and don't get the habit of cursing too much. All right, that's why I'm telling you, do not shadow people who curse too much, because you will be like them. So don't overuse fillers. What I mean by fillers, just saying, you know what I'm saying. Oh man, just like that, or saying, do not use that much of fillers. Keep your speech flowing, all right, and learn how to control your brain, all right. Do not mix the language with Arabic. I see a lot of you guys, if they want to be smart, they would mix their language with English, all right? And this is really, really wrong. Because if you keep doing that, you keep thinking about the languages, both of them at the same time, all right? When you speak Arabic, don't mix it with English. And when you speak English, do not mix it with Arabic, because you will get the habit of translating in your brain. Find a purpose. This is really important, all right? Find a purpose. Why would you learn the language? All right. If you are one of these people who want to show off or brag about the language, you won't learn it. All right. Because as long as you are able to communicate, or maybe to say a sentence in the language, you'll stop, because you reached what you want, which is just show off or brag around with or tell your friends about the language or something like that. Find the real purpose. Why do you really want to learn the language? Is it for your career? Is it for maybe for studying? Make a noble, legit purpose. So, and the last thing is, which is real important, set realistic goals. All right. Now, when it comes to goals, you have to understand that a language takes time. All right. You cannot learn the language within a month. You have to be realistic. If you say that I want just to be able to communicate within 3 to 6 months, and being able just to express yourself and carry on a simple conversation in the language, that's realistic, all right? But if you say that I'm going to be like a native speaker in 1 month or 2, that's impossible, all right? You'll have, even if you have maybe if you have the Elon Musk chip, that would be possible. That would be possible. Yeah, so set realistic goals, but do not forget your main goal, all right? If your goal is to be advanced, to be fluent, to be a native speaker, do not forget that goal, but set a plan, set a map for your road, all right? So then, do you have anything to add about the realistic goals and how to set goals?
Yeah, one thing that I've learned is write down your goal. A goal that isn't written is one that is less likely to come true. If you're in the middle of your process of learning a language, or you're starting off and you're just kind of interested, and it's important to put it down on your phone, put it on your whiteboard. If you have one, write a note to yourself. Say, I want to be fluent or I want to be proficient in 2 years. Maybe you have a business trip that is coming up, and you want to be able to impress the people that you're going to be meeting in another country. Write it down. Write down how much you want to know, and remind yourself every day that if this is a goal that I really want to meet, then I need to start working on it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and this is something that I want to mention here. Listen, a lot can change in 1 year. All right, 1 year is a really short time. It's like yesterday we was in just 2020 and 29. All right, and now look at us. Like, we're approaching 2021. It's really fast and really short time. So stay focused, because a lot can change in 1 year. All right, even though you don't really feel that you improved. All right, sometimes that you wake up and you feel that I did a lot of work yesterday, but I still don't really feel the improvement. All right, keep going. All right, keep putting more hard work. All right, because after 1 year, when you look down, you will see how much you moved. All right, so it's really important to stay focused and believe in these methods. That's why I explained at the beginning of the lecture, about communication and how the language was formed, and the definition and stuff like that. That it's not real important for you or help for you to learn the language, but you have to understand why these things are working, and why these things take time. All right, and how efficient these methods are. So stay focused and believe in these methods and keep doing it every day. All right. So do you have anything to add, Danny?
No, I think you agree.
All right, thank you very much. Let me see. All right, this is the end of the lecture. So now, if you have any question, anything, if you have a problem that you are struggling with maybe your language or any language that you are learning, maybe we can answer you, me and Daniel. So be free to ask any question you have. We're gonna give you like 5 minutes, maybe 10. So yeah, go ahead. Athir, can you hear me? If there is anyone who wants to open or unmute himself, you can just give him. All right.
Okay. Hello, everyone. This is Yamama. I'm a vice president of SBE, and I'll be continuing the lecture with you. I would like to thank Mr. Hussein and Daniel for this so informative lecture. We were so happy to have you with us today. And
hello, Yamame? I think we lost connection with Yamame. Can you hear me, Yamame?
Yeah, it looks like we lost connection with her.
Yeah, right. So
hello everyone. Yeah. I'm sorry, I was unmuted myself accidentally, so I will repeat all over again. So this is Yamama Hassan. I'm the vice president of SBE, and I will be continuing the lecture with you guys. I would like to thank you, Mr. Hussein and Mr. Daniel, for this so informative lecture that we have, and we would like to invite like these lectures more and more, and we would like to thank Mr. Daniel specifically to join us, and we went to tell him that we are so glad and happy to have him with us today, and we want him to know that we are so that we are so happy to have him here, and we are like to have these distinguished lectures. Now I would like to let the microphone to Mr. Ali Noureddin, a lecturer from Meisan University and the president of the SBE Meisan chapter.
All right.
Hello everyone. I'm sorry for Mr. Ali can't join us because of the weakness of internet. So I would like to ask everyone here to post his question on the chat space or by raise hand for more, and click raised hand to let him talk directly with Mr. Hussein and Mr. Daniel. So in these few seconds, I would like to take the chance and noticing for something that this lecture gonna be translated and downloaded on YouTube for you all. Also, all the resources and links and books were mentioned in this lecture gonna be posted to you on SPE channel on Telegram. And we are glad to have you all here and waiting for your questions if you have any. Okay, I would like to give the mic for Mr. Ali Nuruddin from Meisan University, the head of the supervisor of SPE Meisan chapter. The mic is yours. Just a second.
Hi, sir. Thank you about that grateful lecture. I'm asking about the website and the platform that can use to meet people from different country and different culture that can arise from about our language and accent. Can you tell us?
Yeah, it's now like it's not a website. It's just an app that you can download on iPhone or Android. You have there are a lot of applications like that, by the way. But I recommend to use Tandem or Hello Talk. These are the most reliable and the most, in my opinion, because I'm like that person who was paranoid about security. So you have Tandem and Hello Talk are safe to use. Go there and use them and enjoy your time talking to people. Thank you very much for, yeah. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you are welcome.
It looks like we have a question.
Question in chat box. Okay.
Yeah.
I will say it and you're gonna.
Yeah.
Okay,
I was going to say the same thing. We just have a question in the chat.
Okay. So I will say it and you answer it. So Hal said, I'm sorry if I spell it wrong. Can you suggest any stories and audios be easy to start with?
Yeah, I already put like everything on the Telegram channel. They are already clear and in a slow speech, all right? They are low-key, it's not low-key language, but it's really clear and made specifically for beginners and intermediate. So go there and listen to it. Go to the Telegram channel. I would put everything there for free, all right? These things are just, I bought everything and I just give it there for free. So go there and enjoy your time, all right? It's just a free.
And if I can add in, one good way to find easier audio and easier TV shows to watch is find American television shows that are for the everyday audience. Find ones that are about, for instance, families. Shows like Malcolm in the Middle or The Middle, or even if you're more advanced, ones that have a lot of humor in them, like How I Met Your Mother, or just popular TV shows that you can find online that you can find clips of. And if you're looking for more objective sources, go to places like PBS News. PBS stands for the Public Broadcast Service. It's very useful. It's a really good way to find just people speaking English and using repetitive terms that eventually you can start to pick up on.
Yeah, that's right. That's a really cool advice. Yeah. I think Mr. Ali Nuruddin is here. So if you want to join us, sir, you can go ahead.
Yes. Thanks, Hussein, and thanks, Yamama. Yamama, by the way, I'm not the president. I'm just the faculty advisor for the chapters, but Satir is the president. Daniel, thanks for no, it's okay, it's okay. And Daniel, thank you for your time that you give for us. And as a member of the faculty, we thank you for your time and for the interesting lecture you and Hussein. It's just a surprise for me. He didn't tell me before that you are our guest. And as you know, this our university is supporting these you have or interesting for interesting lecture.
And I'd like to take a moment and thank you all for having me, Ali and Mrs. Yamama. I appreciate you both or letting Hussein give this presentation, and it's absolutely my pleasure to be here and to talk with all of you.
Yeah, sure. So thank you very much, sir. And Mr. Ali, I do really appreciate you being here. And thank you very much, Mrs. Yamama. And bro, thank you very much for being here, Daniel. It's really a pleasure. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, so if we don't have any other questions, we may wrap up everything with thank you, and hopefully you'll learn something from this lecture. This is only the first, and it's not the last. So we're gonna keep going with these lectures. So thank you very much for being here. Thank you all, and have a great day.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hussein. Thank you, Mr. Daniel. Thanks for Mr. Ali Nuruddin. And thanks for everyone joined us today. We are so glad to have you all. And ending this lecture, if you don't have any question, we'll give 5 seconds to do it. Okay, okay, we will end it by 10 minutes or 5. We will just give you time to register in our form for the students of the chapter for the certificate that we will give to the ones who joined the most lectures we do. So I would ask Mr. Athir to end the recording and stay for those who wants to fill the form. And okay. I mentioned to these things that the lecture is gonna be translated and downloaded on YouTube with translation, sorry for it. And everything mentioned in the lecture gonna be posted to you all to get used of it. And any question you have, you can't ask it here. We'd nicely ask you if you feel free to have your question on the chat we got on our channel on Telegram. We'll be glad to answer you anytime. Fill the form. Okay, I will give you just seconds to fill the form.